and this is a lesson from sociology, nios, senior secondary. And here in this part, we deal with the 10th chapter of your sociology textbook, that is about cooperation, competition, and conflict. So, both cooperation, competition, and conflict, these are parts of social interactions or major forms of social interactions. These social interactions may take place between the individuals or members in a social group. First of all, let us go to the topic social process as a social interaction. Social process. Social process has a wider connotation. It comprises of events that took place in the past. It is also based on traditions, morals, and instincts. Social process has a wider connotation than social interaction. It comprises of events that took place in the past. It is also based on traditions, morals, and instincts. In short, we can say that social processes may be abstract and unconscious in nature. On the other hand, social interactions are concrete and based on reciprocity, real and social contact situations. You just look at the social process. It may be an abstract thing. We cannot see or we cannot touch or we cannot understand it by a single incident. A social process may take between a long period of time, and it is that is why it is said that it is an unconscious process in nature. And on the other hand, social interaction and a particular interaction that is done between two members is a concrete one. We can see the interaction, what is the interaction that they are doing. We can see it with our eyes or we can understand. It may be on a reciprocal basis. One member waves his hands towards the other member and he also waves his hands to him. This is an example of social interaction. One person says hello, the other person also says hello. Okay, this is also an example of social interaction. And when these social interactions are repeated, it becomes a social process. So social interactions are concrete and it have a reciprocity. It has a reciprocity nature and also they are real and social contact situations. Social process is concerned with different changes in our life or in the life of the individual or group. Social process is concerned with the changes. That is the focus area we have to note with. Social process is concerned with the different changes in life of the group. It depends upon the nature of interaction, which may include the historical, cultural, political, and economic, and religious and social aspects. It depends upon the nature of interaction between the individuals of that social group, which may include the historical, cultural, political, and economic, religious, and social aspects. So, social process can be looked as a historical process. That is the meaning that we learned through the first sentence. Social process can be looked as a historical process because it is a time-taking process. All the social processes are. Unlike social interactions, that may end with one single interaction. But when these interactions between the group members repeat for a long period, it becomes a social process and it is a historical process. It may also be in the form of cultural process. One group may share or one group may assimilate the habits and manners of other group. It is also said to be a cultural process. So as far as social processes are concerned, It can be in the form of a cultural process. And thirdly, it may also be in the form of a political change. Okay, social process may also happen in the form of political changes. It may change the boundaries of nations also. So because of these social changes, it may also happen as an economic change. That is also another thing of a social process. It may also be in the form of a religious change. Social process may be of historical changes, political changes, economic changes, and also finally religious changes. What do you mean by social interaction? Is there any difference between social process and social interaction? Yes, definitely. Interactions refers to an action done in response to another action. Social interactions refers to an action done in response to another action. At least two members are needed from a social group in order to make a social interaction. And a social interaction becomes a social process. It becomes a social process when interaction is repeated. A social process becomes a social interaction when it is repeated. Social interaction is a way people behave socially with each other. That is social interaction, and can be verbal or non-verbal. Let us check some examples. Greeting. When two friends greeting each other with a smile and wave their hands, it is an example of a social interaction. And it may be in the form of a kind of communication. Communication means it may be a simple communication or a long communication. Saying just hi or bye or waving hands to a neighbor or giving a stranger directions, all those things can also be termed as social interactions. And social interactions may be in the form of an exchange. It means a university lecture when where a professor communicates information to students. That is an example of a exchange of ideas. That is also an interaction of social interaction. And competition. In a competition where one or more parties try to prove that they are superior to others, it is also an example of a social interaction. Then conflict, war, where one army tries to control the resources so the other army can't have them. Okay, that is also an example of a social interaction. Social skills, sharing toys, games, and activities with others, complimenting and encouraging others. All these can be said to be as an example of social interaction that is taking place in the society. When a husband and wife, when they cooperate each other, when they help each other out of love and affection and sympathy, it assumes the form of cooperation and becomes a social process. So, is cooperation only a single form of social interaction? No, there are yet other forms. Social interactions and social process are interrelated. One does not exist without the other. Social process and social interaction both are different terms, but both have some common ideas, and one does not exist with the other without the other. Thus, social process means various modes of interaction between individuals or groups, including cooperation, collaboration, and mutual support. Cooperation means collaboration and mutual support. Another form is social interaction is conflict. Conflict means disagreements or competition. Another form, social differentiation, formation of different social classes, and integration. That is also another kind of social interaction. Development, another kind of social process. Arrest and decay. Arrest and decay means stagnation, decay, etc. These are also, in other words, social process is a manner in which the relations of the members of a group, once brought together, acquiring certain distinctive character. Social interaction as distinguished from social process. Social process is concrete, real, and based on communication. Social process is concrete, real and based on communication. And this is all about the chapter 10 first initial pages. In other words, social process is a manner in which the relations of the members of a group once brought together to acquire a certain distinctive character. So, social interaction is concrete, real, and based on communication. There are three major forms of social interaction. 1. Cooperation. 2. Competition. 3. Conflict. These are the three major types of social interaction.